Yo, this is gonna be Jojo Bizarre Adventure Part 5, Episode 9 and 10. So, basically, the whole premise of Episode 9 is basically everything, the last few episodes, with the whole hidden treasure thing. This little mission has been accomplished now because we find out where the treasure is. The treasure was hidden behind a cubicle, and the only way to access it was using sticky fingers, ability where it just opens like a cubicle. Yeah, that's pretty crazy. So imagine you're just peeing in this cubicle just to know there's like millions of pounds or lira or whatever the currency was. But there's millions and like a fortune behind this thing you're peeing on. That's crazy. And then because of that, turns out Bujarati, he wasn't going to be greedy and take all the money. He actually informed someone from the organization, another capo, Mr. Perlicchio, I don't know, something like that. Yeah, and then he's giving him all the money, and then it's quite a smart move from Bujarati, because that means Bujarati kind of gains the trust of a senior, and it demonstrates his loyalness and his trust to the organization, which will in essence actually make him better and more respected in the organization. But then because of what Bujarati did, he actually gets promoted, so they were actually one step closer to their goal, which is ultimately to take down the whole organization and fight the boss. But obviously not many people know that. The only people that know that right now is Bujarati and Joe oh my god, Jordan. But what else happens in this chapter is we also get an introduction to the character, the Trish. She's called Trish, right? And then we find out it's the boss's daughter. So then obviously Giorno, this is the big lead for him. He's like very close to finding the boss's identity, because this is like the only link to him pretty much. And then because of that, they have to look after her, because of obviously if it's the boss's leader and people know that, they're gonna go after her, aren't they? So that she's obviously quite a high profile person in a sense. She's this kind of like a witness program going on, and then Mr. Pericles kind of just shoves a bad job onto them by making them look after Trish, which is pretty funny. And then what else? The reason why it's quite difficult to look after Trish is because we find out she's a pretty spoiled brat as well. It's quite funny when she's just like, yeah, give me a Chanel bag, all that stuff. She's quite a spoiled brat, demanding all those things, so it's going to be quite difficult for them to look after her as well. But yeah, not much really happens in the episode, apart from that. And then obviously, and then we pretty much just fade out to the stakeout house where they're like hiding in the countryside or something, and then we get like a little flashback of what Naranka is doing. So basically, Naranka is on he's on duty to get food and supplies, and his duty is to get food and supplies from the city and come back without being followed. And then we are told that he was chosen for this role because his stand is the most suitable for this job. And obviously we don't get really much context in that. We just know that his stand is the most suitable, and that he was chosen by Bujarati, especially him. And then, but the thing is, Naranka actually runs into an enemy stand. He's called Small Feet, and I think this guy is after the boss's daughter. And then somehow he kind of knows that, he kind of questions Naranka, and kind of knows already that Bujarati is hiding Trish, the daughter. So because of that, he kind of trying to get the information out of Naranka. But Naranka is on the offensive now, and he attacks with his stand. And then this is the first time we're introduced to his stand. So it's like a mini aeroplane, pretty much like a toy aeroplane with like a gun mounted to it, and it's called Aerosmith. It's obviously a homage to the band Aerosmith as well. This is pretty cool. And then we learn that his stand actually has like bullets and stuff, and it has quite a lot of stopping power to it. Well, as when we see when he attacks the car in the back seat, and he drops that bomb, and it's actually a real bomb, and we see the bullet holes in the seats of the car as well. Shows that it is actual bullets as well. So that makes him pretty strong. And then what happens is Naranka pretty much attacks this dude. I don't know his name. I forgot his name, but I just know he's the enemy stand user. And when he attacks the dude, he kind of gets bombed. But then we find out that his stand is called Small Feet, and his ability is to shrink himself, and maybe other things as well. And then what he does, he just hides in his pocket. And it's kind of funny though. I remember this part quite well. He's just having a monologue in his like back pocket, and I'm just like, Naranka, how can you not hear this dude just having a monologue in your back pocket? Like, it was such a long monologue. You know, if that happened to me, I'm pretty sure I would hear that dude like straight away. But obviously he doesn't notice. And then it's kind of a hint that Naranka is shrinking as well because of his ability. And then that's pretty much the end of episode 9. And then we go into episode 10, right? So pretty much what happens in this episode is just a bunch of fighting as well, really. It's just a fight between Aerosmith and little Small Feet. But then what happens is the Small Feet dude is obviously, he's not really versed for fighting with his stand, as seen, because he's just using like really sneaky tactics. And then what happens is pretty much Naranka keeps shrinking and shrinking, and then we're just giving hints that he's shrinking. First of all, we find out that his blade is too big, and then his shoes started to get bigger as well. And then when he sits in the car, he can't reach the thingy, the steering wheel and the brakes. So at this point, the viewer will obviously know that he's shrinking, but it takes Naranka a while to understand that he's shrinking. And then like takes him, I don't know, he's kind of stupid, but it takes him a while to find out he's in his back pocket. And then the way he finds out is his stand like detects that he's in the back pocket, and he grabs him. And then Naranka's at this point he was just gonna finish him off when he's holding him in his hand like a toy. But then this guy is he knows how to utilize his stand quite well. So I thought it was quite clever what he did. He has like a pocket. No, he has like a pen in his hand, and what he does is returns it to normal size, and he uses like the spring of it to like catapult him away. But then we find out Naranka's stand is actually tracing him and like locks onto him pretty fast, and he finds out where he is. He's hiding behind like a lamppost or a stop sign. Actually, it's a stop sign, yeah. And then this dude is just trying to run away into the sewers, but then Naranka's stand keeps following him, and it keeps following, and then he goes into the water as well, but it keeps following him, and it doesn't know how like Naranka keeps finding him. But then at this point we get like a little pursuit going on with this dude just trying to run away from the stand, really, from Aerosmith. And then we get this dude's like little backstory as well, which is pretty interesting actually. It opens up a lot of plot revelations in this series. So we learn that he's part of this hitman squad and there's 9 members. So the key word, there's 9 members. And what this hitman squad was, it's actually part of the same organization that everyone else is in, like Passion. And you know, we see the flashback where Small Feet is just like assassinating a target, which is he does it in a pretty brutal way, but it's pretty crazy. So he, like a small car, he shrinks a car, and then he puts his car in the dude's drink, and the dude drinks the car, and then like the car expands from within his like stomach, which is pretty crazy, man. It's kind of like, that's pretty painful, I would reckon. And then the little scene where like the car's expanding, like his belly goes really big. It was pretty graphic, to be honest. And then it crushes him and his girlfriend, the target. And then after that they go home. So we kind of get an introduction to all the characters actually. You know, they're all pretty zany and funny looking as well. But then it turns out that this little group, like, you know, this happens quite a lot, you know. Well, when your underlings, they start getting a little too big for their own boots, if that makes sense. A little big to their boots. So we find out that because they're the hitman squad, they don't really get that much money from the organization, and they don't feel like they're actually like represented well or treated well in the organization. So what they do is they want their own, they want to take over, like, and get all the money, really. You know, it's pretty much just agreed. But then we find out they're like plotting to find out the boss's identity, and then they're all just like sitting around. But 2 of them are missing, right? And there's, you know, and apparently those 2 are like a couple, like a gay couple. And there's like a little, you know, little shade front of them, obviously, but nothing's too serious. and then apparently they went missing though. So what they do is they spend a bit of time looking for those two. But then Small Feet obviously he finds them on a boat, and he just finds one of them suffocate on his own. What's it called? He's suffocate on his own cloth. So he's like tied up, and he's just suffocate on the rag that he was eating. We don't really know why, but we see like such a fear in his eyes. It's pretty crazy, you know. If he must have seen something to, to make him look like that. Well, that was pretty crazy. And then like, and then this whole like sequence is pretty gruesome, you know. So we have this guy passed out and killed because he like suffocated on the own. I don't know the word, but like his own do-rag, let's call it, the rag that was like tied up in. And then like what happens is the address where they live at, the hideout, they keep getting like what's it called? They keep getting deliveries from a random sender, unknown sender, right? And then what they've been sent is like these frames, and they get so many. I think it was 36 in total, and they're all got like different things on them, and and then one of them comes to the realization, right, that wait, what if we line them up? They realizes that it's actually, they notice something that one of their members had, right? So what they do is they line them all up, and it's pretty gruesome, you know, because then as the dude is lining it up, the viewer and the group come to the realization of what it is really. So what it is this dude has been chopped up into 36 pieces, and it's been like preserved in this like solution, and it's been and it's been sent to these guys. That, oh my god, oh, I had like chills when I saw that, to be honest. Can you imagine that your friend that you've known for a while, and then like he goes missing, and then some mysterious dude just sends you your friend in 36 pieces in like frozen blocks. That's crazy. And I like the whole like scene where they're like putting it together. It's like a puzzle, and they like find out what happened to the dude. And then pretty much like the boss of the organization as well is just like, yeah, we're just gonna what's it called, forget about these two and pretend like it never happened. And apparently this is what happens when people try to find out the boss's identity. So pretty much what happened was like the boss, he obviously caught wind of the group's like intent, and what he did was he killed the dude as an example. And then because the other dude was getting chopped into pieces, the other dude was so scared that he actually choked on the rag to prevent getting killed in a similar fashion, you know. And then because of the way he was dying, like there's a lot of fear and there's terror in his eyes. That's pretty crazy, you know. That's some like next level torture shit, you know. Damn, this is pretty creative, man. The way Araki like made all these scenes, man. Like, where does he come up with these torture ideas? Like, did he invent them himself, or did he, or these things that people have actually done as well? That'd be crazy if people have done these things, you know. Well, that's crazy. I can't believe that. But then, yeah, the group pretty much is like, yeah, we're never gonna go look after the boss's identity, and they pretty much go back to business. But then recently, because they recently find out that the daughter has the boss has a daughter, and then obviously they're gonna get back into it because now they have a lead pretty much. But there's that scene where we see the dude getting cut up, and then I think we see like a silhouette of a character, which is, I assume, is gonna be the boss, and we see has like some horns and stuff. So I'm looking forward to the reveal of the boss, if that is the boss silhouette. It might be a little cameo, but yeah. That was pretty much episode 9 and 10. It was pretty good, you know. These two episodes have been a lot of focus on Naranika as a character. So I seen that's a bit of a pattern, really. You know, every member of the team's getting a bit of focus. So we've seen Abacino get some focus, you know, with a little backstory, his stand ability reveal. Then we saw Mister. He had 2 episodes to himself. You know, his little backstory episode. With Naranka, we haven't really seen his backstory. Well, we've seen his ability and what his stand a bit. That's pretty much actually what we've seen. We just have one more to go, really. I forgot his name. I think it's Fugo. We need to see his stand ability. But pretty much nearly everyone's like had a little introduction. It's pretty cool. So, but then we need to find out if Naranka can actually beat this guy, because he was about to beat this guy, but he shrunk too much, and the dude like returned to normal size, and he didn't do enough damage pretty much. Yo, this small feet dude, the way he utilizes his abilities, like it's pretty good actually. It reminds me of the way Hunter x Hunter works and the way they utilize their abilities. It's on that kind of scale really. It's pretty clever. But yeah, this was 2 very good episodes so far. So there's been like 10 episodes of Jojo now, and I've enjoyed every single episode so far. It's a very good series. I really hope it doesn't end anytime soon. But yeah, very good.